Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your Hatha Basics class. Today, I know I already said this, but for those of you that are practicing with the video at a later date, we're going to be working on our core. Some of the stuff is going to be on our back, so if we're practicing on a hard surface, maybe grabbing a blanket or something to cushion the back with will be really helpful. We're also going to be starting in a heart opener, so some blocks and a bolster might be helpful as well. So if you don't have any of these things, that's okay. You can just come down to your back and start. But if you do have these things, we're going to go ahead and take our blocks. One of them is going to be at the middle setting at the top where our head will go. The other one is going to be at the lower setting, running vertically down the mat so that it'll support the spine. And then we take our pillow, our couch cushion, or our bolster and we lay it on top. From here, we're going to bring our tail right up against that bolster and begin to lie back, opening the heart towards the sky, letting the shoulders drape open, maybe even teeing the arms open here. And we'll take a moment while we're here to maybe snuggle each shoulder blade in towards the heart. The legs can be extended out long to the end of the mat. They can also be in a butterfly shape, or you could just plant your feet and keep the hips supported here. So there doesn't have to be anything fancy going on with the legs. We're focusing mostly on the abdominals and the chest here. And to get started this morning, we'll take a deep breath in through the nose. And a long breath out. Letting go of the morning that we've had. Taking anything that is weighing on us today on our mind and just setting it aside for this class. Giving ourselves permission to fully be here in our bodies, in our practice, and in this moment right now. And as we start to settle into this heart opener, we might just begin to notice any sounds that we hear going around our room or outside of the room. Not feeling the need to label anything here. Just noticing what you hear. Allowing each sound to move through your awareness as if a piece of music. When we listen to music, we don't typically name the note or the chord that the musician is playing. We just allow the music to move through our awareness. So as we begin to settle into our practice here, just allowing each sound, each feeling, each breath, each tiny movement to just move through your mind, not getting hung up on one or the other, on labeling, on judging, but simply allowing what is to be this morning. As we begin to ground into our space, we might also begin to ground into our physical body, noticing maybe any parts of us that feel a little sore this morning. Maybe noticing parts of us that feel nice and energized and ready for our practice. Taking time to listen to the body here. There might be areas that need a little bit of extra support this morning, or some compassion as we move. We'll take a few more rounds of breath here, maybe checking in with our mind, noticing that space from which we are starting from today, noticing where our energy is. Finally, beginning to set your intention for our class this morning. And maybe that intention is to just simply be in the body. Maybe it's just to have gratitude that you made it to the mat today. Or maybe it's a little more than that. Maybe you want to make a wish for your day, for your week. When you're ready, on your next inhale, we'll begin to lift the hands up and overhead, reaching through the fingertips, letting the arms become heavy behind you, opening through the rotator cuffs, through the front of the body here. One more inhale in. And as you're ready, exhale, floats the arms down next to the side. We'll take our gaze over the right shoulder, opening up through the left side of our neck. Maybe even reaching the left fingertips a little bit further away from the body here. Taking a round of breath in between the shoulder and the left ear. And we'll inhale the head and the hand back to a neutral space. And then as you're ready, we'll exhale, beginning to look towards our left shoulder as we tiptoe the right fingertips away from the body. And we'll inhale back to center. We'll bend the knees, plant the feet. Take a gentle roll off of your props here, off to one side. It doesn't matter which one. But we're going to remove the blocks and the bolster out from underneath us. For those of us that want, we're going to bring that blanket underneath our spine here. If you don't have a blanket or you don't have something to cushion yourself with, maybe thinking about rolling your mat or folding it rather. And then from here, with our feet planted under our knees, our head is out behind us here, the back of our neck and spine are flush against the ground. Back of the neck is nice and long. And as we're here, we're going to just take our awareness down to our core, down to our abdominals here. Notice if they are kind of soft this morning, that's okay. And then seeing if we can draw that belly button back towards the spine. Really creating that flushness with the lumbar spine against our mat. So we don't want that normal curvature in our back. We want to begin to flatten that space out. Now, there might be a little bit of space there still, and that's okay. We're not looking for perfection here today. We're just trying things out. So once you have that engagement in the lower abdominals here, we're going to think about the upper abdominals. Noticing, are our ribs flaring outward? Can we begin to draw them back, compressing the inner workings, the organs against the spine? So once we have that engagement, we're going to interlace the fingers, bring them behind the head. The thumbs are going to release to the neck for a little bit of support here. Elbows are pointed out to either side, and the back of the arms are against the earth. So now we're going to visualize something here for a moment, because a lot of us, when we think about a crunch, we begin to round the back and pull the elbows in. And today we're not gonna do that. Today we're gonna keep the elbows nice and wide. And we're gonna imagine that there are strings coming from our sternum, our chin, our nose, and our forehead, and they're all lifting the same. So we're not lifting one part of us more than the other. So with that in mind, we're going to inhale, begin to lift up. Compressing through the abdominals, exhale, we lower back down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower, making sure that the elbows are staying nice and wide here. Inhale, we begin to lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale. Exhale, back down. Inhale for 5. Exhale, lower. Inhale. Exhale, lower, back down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, lower, back down. Last one. Inhale, lift, and keep it lifted as we exhale here. Take another deep breath in. And exhale, we'll lower back down. Pausing here, letting the body rest. Making any adjustments to the engagement that we need. So let's say we notice that our elbows were starting to draw in. What can we do to begin to keep them open? Let's say we notice that our lower abdominals begin to release. Can we begin to compress and engage them once more? So once we have that foundation set up, we'll go for another round. On your next inhale, we'll lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Check in with the abs here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, 10. Exhale, lower. Inhale, 9. Exhale, lower. Inhale, 8. Elbows are wide. Exhale, lower. Inhale, 7. Exhale, lower. Inhale, 6. Exhale, back down. Inhale, 5. Exhale, lower. Inhale, 4. Exhale, down. Inhale, 3. Exhale, lower. Inhale, 2. We're lifting from the sternum here. Exhale, lower. Last one. Inhale. Hold here as we exhale. Take another deep breath in. And exhale, lowers back down to the mat. This time we'll knock the knees in, take the feet nice and wide, and allow ourselves to rest here. Taking a few rounds of breath, telling yourself something kind. And then when you're ready, we'll heel toe the feet back in. This time we'll engage through the core, so we're compressing the abdominals back towards the ground, back towards the spine. And then we'll begin to lift the feet off of the mat, drawing the knees in towards the abdominals. Now this right here is going to be a little easier. If you're looking for a little bit more work, we might see, can we begin to stack the knees on right above the hips? Now, if you go to do this and your low back begins to lift off of the mat, then draw the knees back in until the low back becomes flush again with the floor. We don't want that space between the low back and our mat. So decide where the knees need to be this morning. And then we'll come back to supporting or cradling our head here. Elbows are going to be nice and wide. Thumbs are releasing down our neck. On our next inhale, we'll lift up for 10. Exhale, lower. Inhale, 9. Exhale, lower. Inhale, 8. Exhale, lower. Inhale, 7. Exhale, lower. Inhale, 6. Exhale, lower. Inhale, 5. Exhale, lower. Inhale, 4. Exhale, lower. Inhale, 3. Exhale, lower. Inhale, 2. Exhale, lower. Last one. Hold here. On your next exhale, lower the feet, lower the head back down to the mat. Drawing the soles of the feet together, taking the knees nice and wide, we'll pause here. Couple more sets. We'll begin to draw the knees in together. Feet are hip distance. We'll lift the knees off, lift the feet off of the mat, lifting the knees above the hips or in towards the abdominals. Again, remembering we want that low back to be flush. Hands are cradling the head, thumb is cradling the neck, elbows are wide. Now we're going to inhale, lift the upper body. Keeping it lifted, we're going to do little micro pulses of the knees and hips off of the mat. So we're going to inhale, lift the tail, exhale, let it roll back down. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Little movement, it doesn't even have to be that big. We're just noticing, can we feel the lower abdominals here? And we'll do this at our own pace for the next few rounds of breath. Keep it going. You got this. Matching movement with breath here. Taking our time, keeping that engagement, keeping the elbows wide. We'll do this for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let everything come back down to the mat. We'll bring our hands to our abdomen. We'll take the feet out wide. We'll take the knees in together and we'll let everything collapse in. One more breath. And then we'll heel toe the feet together, stacking the knees and the feet. This time we'll bring our hands down next to our hips. Palms are going to face up. We'll snuggle the shoulder blades underneath the spine, still flattening that space between your low back and the mat so the core is engaging here. We'll inhale. Lift the upper body, and as you're ready, exhale, right fingertips to right ankle. Inhale back to center. Exhale, left fingertips to the outside of the left ankle. Inhale back to center. Exhale, over to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. We're looking straight up. Inhale back to center. Exhale, right. Inhale back to center. Exhale left. Inhale. Exhale right. Inhale. Exhale left. A few more. Inhale. Exhale right. Inhale. Exhale left. Inhale. Exhale right. That's 5. Inhale. Exhale left. Inhale. Exhale right, that's 4. Inhale. Exhale left. Inhale. Exhale right, that's 3. Inhale. Exhale left. Inhale. Exhale right, 2. Inhale. Exhale left. Last one, inhale. Exhale right. Inhale back to center. Exhale left. Inhale to center. Hold as we exhale. Take another deep breath in. Exhale, lower down to the mat. Take a rest here, choosing what you want to do with the legs, but allowing everything to soften towards the mat. Feeling that heat and energy we're building in the body here. So as we start to move in towards the cold winter months, how do we begin to maintain that energy? We still have things we have to do. We still have to get up and live. So how do we tap into that energy? Well, we begin to connect with that core, that fire, that solar plexus energy here when we work with our core. So if you want that energy, think about doing some of these every morning. So we'll take one more round of breath here. And then we'll go ahead and bring the feet back underneath the knees. Knees are hip distance apart. Hands are down by the hips this time. Palms are going to face down towards the mat. On your next inhale, we're going to press into the feet. Lift the hips off of the mat. Opening through the front of the body as we head into our bridge here. We're actively pressing through the triceps, through the hands, through all four corners of the feet. Front of the shins are drawing forward as we press the tail up towards the sky. Breathing here. Inner thighs are squeezing in towards each other. One more breath. Exhale, lowers down. Pausing here as we inhale. Long breath out. On our next inhale, press through the feet, press through the back of the arms. Inhale, lift the hips up for our bridge. Can I be active through all parts of my feet? Am I leaning into my heels? Am I leaning into my toes? How can I bring balance into that space? One more breath, maybe we lift a little higher. And then as you're ready, exhale, we roll down one vertebrae at a time. This time, hugging the knees in towards the body. Maybe taking a gentle sway from side to side. Or maybe just pausing in a static posture here, tuning in with your breath. Grabbing the backs of the thighs, we'll begin to roll from front to back. If this is accessible for you, eventually we'll roll all the way up. If this isn't accessible for you for whatever reason, maybe our spine is not flexed that way, that's okay, just make your way up into our seat. From here, we're going to extend the legs forward, removing some of that flesh out from underneath the sits bones so that we're nice and rooted through the sits bones. Feet are going to flex. And then our hands are going to rest either down by the side or on top of the thighs. So we're heading into our Dandasana here, but let's go ahead and take a round of our spine so we can feel what it feels like to be really dramatic in a slouched posture. Notice how this is really kind of contracting the abdominals. Well, keeping engagement, we want to begin to lift the spine nice and tall. So starting at the pelvic floor, we're going to engage here. And then from here, we're going to pull the belly button in. We're going to begin to knit the ribs together. Broaden through the heart space, shoulders ground down the spine. And then our hands come back to that resting state. So either again next to the sides or on top of the thighs. From here, very crown of the head, not the forehead, not the nose, not the chin, crown of our head lifts and pulls the spine nice and long. Now notice here, are we leaning forward to get that lift, or can we keep the heart stacked over the sits bones? From here, we'll hold this for a few rounds of breath. Actively pulling the toes back towards the body, actively pressing the heels forward, lengthening the back of the legs here. Keeping this lift for one more round of breath. And then when you're ready, on your next exhale, we'll begin to collapse once again, rounding the spine, letting the head hang forward towards the knees. Nothing fancy here. We're not trying to touch the toes. We're not coming into a full, beautiful forward fold. We're just kind of letting the abdominals collapse in and letting the back of our body round. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale and begin to lift once again, engaging through the pelvic floor, pulling in the lower abdominals, the belly button, knitting the ribs together, opening through the chest, drawing the shoulders back and down the spine, heading back to our Dandasana here. From here, maintaining this lift all the way through the crown, we're going to begin to bend the knees, grabbing behind the backs of the thighs. From here, we're going to come on to the very tips of our toes. Heels are lifted. Our spine is beginning to lengthen up and behind us. And then when you're ready, maybe one foot lifts, maybe the other lifts for our supported boat pose. Notice if you've begun to collapse down. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can see the level of lift and engagement that we are aiming for. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but it does mean that we are trying, right? So we have this tall lift and this nice core engagement here. We're walking our feet back and then eventually lifting through the sternum, keeping it lifted, we're lifting the legs. We'll hold this for another round of breath. And then exhale, feet come back down. We extend them out long. Dandasana, take a round of breath here. Exhale, fold it forward. Taking a couple rounds of breath like this. And then when you're ready, we'll come back up into our nice tall Dandasana. Last time here. So, setting ourselves up nice and right. We remove some of the flesh from our sits bones. We're flexing the feet back. Our legs are nice and long. Our hands are resting next to the side body or on the thighs, whatever feels most comfortable and authentic to you. Inner arms are squeezing in. Shoulder blades are squeezing in. Core is nice and strong. From here, begin to bend the legs. We'll bring the hands to the back of the thighs. We'll begin to tiptoe it back. When we reach that nice V shape with our thigh and our spine, we'll begin to lift the feet off of the mat. Maybe the legs begin to extend long, maybe they stay bent. If we extend them long, but we begin to kind of curl into what would be like a cat, we want to bend the knees and bring the spine long once again. Maybe we play with lifting one hand and then the other. Again, if we lose that engagement, we'll come back to the support. Couple more rounds of breath. we'll gently begin to put one foot down and then the other. We'll walk the legs out long, coming back to the Dandasana. Pausing here for a round of breath. And then on your next exhale, we'll begin to round it forward. We can bend the knees here, letting the spine really round back, letting the abdominals collapse in, letting the forehead hang, and taking a rest here. Balance is key. One more round of breath. And we'll inhale, begin to roll up this time. Pausing at the very top. And then we'll swivel the feet out from underneath us, coming onto our hands and knees and into our table. If we're practicing on a hard surface, maybe thinking about bringing a blanket or a little bolster or pillow underneath the knees for that support. Otherwise, knees are stacked under the hips, wrists are underneath the shoulders, fingers are spreading nice and wide, and we're pressing through the balls of our fingers. So the very top of our palms are engaged. From here, on our next inhale, we're going to drop the belly. We're not moving the spine here, so we're not heading into cat-cow right away. We're just opening the belly and letting it sink towards the ground. As we exhale, we're going to draw the belly button back towards the spine. Inhale, let the belly hang. Exhale, engages it back towards the spine. Inhale, letting it hang. Exhale, pulling it back in towards the spine. Inhale. Exhale, engage. One more, inhale. Exhale, compress. And then on your next inhale, now we can involve the spine. Inhale, let the belly hang, let the spine begin to drop. Opening up through the front of the heart, we lift the gaze for our cow. Exhale, we begin to tuck the chin, round through the back body. Inhale, drops the belly, opens the heart, look up. Exhale, begins to round. Taking a few more rounds with your own breath here, moving in a way that feels good to you, maybe adding in some of that organic movement here. Doesn't have to look like anything fancy. One more round of breath. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to our neutral table. From here, we'll inhale, let the belly drop, just the belly, not the spine. Exhale, begin to compress it back up towards the spine. Keeping that engagement. On your next inhale, we're going to extend the right leg out long behind us. Toes are going to stay on the mat to start. From here, when you feel that you're ready, we're going to inhale, lift the right leg up. Now, if you begin to open up to the right, see if we can dial that pinky toe and hip point back down towards the mat, keeping that engagement and that nice lift and length through the leg. Maybe we play with coming onto our left fingertips. Maybe the left arm begins to lift. Notice if you've let go of that core engagement, if you've begun to collapse and round, or sorry, not round, but collapse into your cow here. See if we can keep the core lifted and the spine neutral. We'll hold this for a couple rounds of breath. One more inhale. Exhale, draw the elbow and knee towards each other. Begin to round through the back body. Inhale, extends out. Exhale, hugs it in. Inhale out, we're doing 5, this is 3. Exhale in. Inhale out. Exhale, draw it in. Last one. Inhale out. Exhale, hug it in. And then let your hand and your knee come down to the mat. Big toes come together, knees go nice and wide. Hips sink back, child's pose. Take a few rounds of breath here. Maybe wiggling in the hips a little bit. Maybe rocking the head from side to side, rolling out that third eye space. Or possibly just letting your body rest here. Letting the mind and the breath rest. And just feeling what you feel in your body. One more breath. And when you're ready, we'll press down through the palms of the hands. Inhale, lift back up into our table. So making sure that we're starting off with a strong foundation. The fingers are going to be spreading wide, tucking the toes, or keeping them pressing into the mat. If you have something thick underneath the knees, I recommend tucking the toes for a little bit more stability. Now when you're ready, we're going to inhale, let the belly expand towards the ground. We're not moving the spine. Exhale, compresses the abdominals back up towards the spine. Again, we're not moving the spine here. We're just engaging the core. So keeping that level of engagement, we're going to extend the left foot behind us. We'll keep the toes on the mat to start. Then when you feel stable, when you feel ready, making sure that this left hip point is pointed down, the left pinky toe is pointed down, we're going to lift that leg straight up. Check back in with that core, make sure we haven't collapsed the belly down. We're keeping it pulling up towards the spine, and then maybe we come onto these right fingertips. Maybe the right arm begins to extend forward. Inhale, deep breath. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extends out. Exhale, draws it in. Inhale out. Exhale in. Inhale, extends out. Exhale, hugs it in. One more. Inhale out. Exhale, hug it in. Let it come down to the mat. Big toes come together, knees go nice and wide. Sink the hips back, child's pose. Maybe checking back in with why you came to your mat today. What is your intention with your practice? And maybe there is none. Maybe this morning all you wanted to do was be in your body and move. And that right there is a beautiful intention. We don't take time enough to be with our body and to just move it freely. Think about this. When you were a child, when we were kids, we moved our body in such weird ways all the time. Or at least some or most of us did, right? So can we bring that back here? Can we just be grateful that we still have a body to move in? We have a body that is healthy, that is strong, that is capable, that is supportive. So Taking a moment here of gratitude for how strong you are, for how far you've come in your practice, in your life. And then when you're ready, we press down through the palms. Inhale, lift up into our table. This time we're going to tuck the toes. Hands are underneath the shoulders. On your next inhale, we lift the knees off the mat, hovering them for a moment. And then on your next exhale, we'll walk the feet back, send the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Taking a few rounds of breath here, maybe pedaling out the feet, noticing what the back of the legs feel like today, noticing what the lower body feels like today. And then pausing in stillness for a couple rounds of breath. One more breath. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, right leg lifts up towards the sky. Exhale, begin to draw the right knee forward towards the right arm as we shift the body over the shoulders. Inhale, extends it back up, three-legged dog. We're not doing very many of these, take it slow. Exhale, shift the body forward, drawing the knee towards the outside of the arm. One more, inhale. Exhale, draws it in. When you're ready, step that right leg up into our low crescent lunge. Back knee is lifted. We might bring our blocks into our practice. If we have something underneath us like a bolster, we might move it off to the side for now. Well, we're going to hang here in our supported crescent lunge. Breathing here. And then when you feel ready, when you feel strong and stable, we're going to inhale, lift the hands up into our full crescent lunge. Sinking into that front knee, lengthening through the front of that left leg. Take a deep breath in, and as you do, we're going to turn it open to the left, coming into our warrior two. Back left foot pivots so that the heel is on the mat and the foot is parallel with the short end of the mat. Left femur is rolling open and our glutes are engaging. Right knee stacking over the right ankle, right femur rolling under as we sink in. From here, arms extend out and we're looking over our front fingers. Straightening through that front right leg. Here comes some of the core work. We're going to shift the body forward. This time, we're going to tilt the left hand up. Let the right hand come to the inside of that right leg, pressing the back of the hand against that inner knee or inner shin. So we're keeping this lift of the upper body with our external and internal obliques here. We're using some of our core to keep us lifted. Maybe even playing with where our hands are. We can even extend them forward. And maybe that only lasts for a breath and we bring it back. One more breath here. As you exhale, we're going to let that left hand come down. We're going to pivot onto the back toes, coming back into our low crescent lunge. Front knee is bent. Breathing here. And then when you're ready, we'll bring that left hand down to the mat. And we'll inhale, begin to turn open to our right. Right hand can stay on the right thigh, or maybe it begins to lift up towards the sky. Exhale, right hand comes down to the mat. We'll lower the back left knee. We'll bring the right hand on the inside of the right foot. We'll heel toe the right leg off the mat. We'll send it out behind us, coming into our table. Now from here, we're going to turn open to the right. This left knee can stay on the mat. Right hand can reach up and over for our supported side plank. If side plank is in your practice, we might just lift that left knee off of the mat and come into our full side plank. For those of you that have the knee lowered, we might play with lifting that top right leg. We'll all hold this for another round of breath. And then when you're ready, we'll go ahead and let that right leg, right hand come down to the mat. We'll come back into our table. And we'll head into either our supported plank, knees lowered, or our full plank, knees lifted. Now, a lot of us, when we come into plank, we round through the shoulders. This engages a lot of our our scapula muscles, and it kind of takes away from what we feel in the front of the chest. So think about this for a moment. Whether you're in a supported plank or a plank, can we lengthen the front of the body? Can we pull the sternum forward? Can we pull through the crown of the head? And keep the core engaged. One inhale. Exhale, lowers all the way down to the belly. Tops of the feet come down to the mat. Big toes come together. Inner thighs squeeze in. Inner arms squeeze in towards the side body. Inhale, lift the head, the neck, the shoulders for cobra. Tuck the tail, engage the glutes, one more breath. And exhale, lower back down. Tuck the toes. Inhale, lift the belly button to the spine. Press up, supported plank. Exhale, sends the hips up and back, downward dog. Take a few rounds of breath here. Remember that child's pose is always available, so if you want to rest in child's pose, you're more than welcome to do that here. And in all actuality, you can do child's pose whenever you need. Even if it's for the whole class. I can't tell you how many times where my practice has been an hour-long child's pose. Never feel guilty for doing what your body needs. One more breath like this. And if you're in child's pose and ready to come out, we'll head into our downward dog. And then all of us will inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, slowly begin to shift your weight forward as we draw the left knee towards the outside of the left tricep. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, slow as you want. Begin to draw it in. Take your time. Last one. Inhale. Three-legged dog. Exhale. Draws the left knee in. Hover for a moment. Then step the left foot up into our crescent lunge. Hands are going to stay on blocks or the ground for a moment while we set up this lower part of this posture. So the front foot, the toes are spreading wide. The back foot, the pinky toe is on the mat. A lot of us tend to turn that back foot open. See if we can dial that pinky toe forward. This forces that hip forward as well. When we feel stable here in our foundation, we'll inhale, lift the hands up for our full crescent lunge. Sinking into that front left knee, lifting up through the back of that right leg, letting this front hip really open. Inhale, begin to turn open to your right as you let that back foot pivot onto the mat, heading into our warrior two. Arms tee open, we're sinking into that front left knee, back of the back right foot, the outer pinky toe edge is pressing into the mat so the inner arch is lifted. Again, thinking about opening this right femur up towards the sky, sinking into this left leg as we engage the glutes under. So we're rolling the femur under. Looking over that front left finger, we'll begin to straighten that left leg, shift the body forward, tilt the right hand up. Left hand comes to the inside of that left leg. We're engaging our core here, so we're keeping ourselves lifted from our core. Maybe even playing with bringing your hand up. Or maybe just keeping it in a T. One more breath. Exhale, right hand comes down, we pivot onto the back toes, we bend into the front knee, back in our supported crescent lunge. Let that right knee come down to the mat. We'll plant the right hand on the mat. We'll begin to step the left leg back. And then we'll come into our side plank on the right side. So either keeping the right knee on the mat and just opening ourselves to the left. Left hand lifts. Or if full side plank is in your practice, we'll lift that bottom knee and we'll lift the left arm. If the bottom knee is lower, you're welcome to play with lifting this left leg up. We'll hold this for one more breath. And then we'll exhale, let the left hand, left foot come down. We'll come back into our table, heading through to our supported plank or our full plank. Engaging here, breathing here. Thinking about a nice long line from the tail to the crown, not collapsing the sternum back, but we're keeping it open and drawing long. Take a deep breath in, and as you're ready, exhale, lowers all the way down to the belly. Tops of the feet press into the mat, big toes together, knees together, inner thighs squeeze in, elbows hug the ribs, inhale, lift up, cobra. One more breath. Exhale, lower. Tuck the toes. Inhale, lifts the belly button to the spine, presses up, supported plank. Exhale, lifts the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Last one. Couple more rounds of breath here. And then we'll walk the feet forward about a step. We'll begin to bend the knees, slowly lowering them down to the mat. Hover them off the ground for about a breath. And then let them come down to the mat fully. We'll begin to walk ourselves to stand on our knees. If we need to bring something underneath the knees for support, go ahead and do so here. Hands are going to come to the low back. Elbows draw in together. Inhale, lift the sternum. Exhale, begin to tuck the tail, press the hips forward. Keep the chin tucked if you feel like your neck can't hang back. We want that neck to be supported. One more breath. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, sink the hips back. Knees stay together this time. Forehead comes down to the mat. Hands reach back for child's pose variation. One more breath. And when you're ready, draw the hands forward. Inhale presses us up. We'll swivel the feet out from underneath us, coming onto our bottom. Soles of the feet are going to come together. Knees are going to go nice and wide. We'll find that nice tall spine. Let's leave quite a bit of space between our heels and our pelvis. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale. And as you exhale, we'll begin to draw the heart forward towards the toes. When you meet that stopping point in the hips, then we can begin to round down through the spine, letting the forehead come down towards the earth. Thinking about maybe sliding one of your forearms underneath your calves and then the other. Palms are facing down, so we ground down here into our tortoise. Couple more rounds of breath here. And when you're ready, if you had the arms underneath the calves, we'll go ahead and slide them out one at a time. And then all of us on our next inhale will roll up one vertebrae at a time, taking our time here. Eventually finding a nice tall spine as we exhale, shoulders down. Reaching for the outer edges of the legs, we'll close them together like a book. We'll wrap the arms around the front of our shins. We'll let our forehead come down towards our knees, giving ourselves a little hug here. Inhale, come up. Plant the feet at the top of your mat. Grab a block or a bolster, bringing it back with you. We're going to exhale, begin to roll back onto our backs, hugging the knees towards the body when we get there. Taking a gentle sway from right to left. And then we'll plant the feet on the mat. We'll reach for that block or that bolster that we decided to bring. We'll press down through the feet, lift the hips, slide that prop underneath the sacrum spine. And then decision here, we can keep the feet planted. We can extend them down long towards the bottom of our mat. We can lift our feet up towards the sky. Whatever feels good for you this afternoon. Taking your time to get there. And then beginning to settle in here. Letting the body become heavy towards your prop. Letting go of any tension in the feet, the inner leg, the outer leg, the pelvis. And beginning to focus our breath down towards the lower part of our abdomen here. Couple more rounds of breath here. And when you're ready, we'll press down through the feet, lift the hips, and begin to remove that prop out from underneath us, coming down onto our backs. Hug the knees in towards the belly. We'll take the arms out wide into a cactus shape or a T. If that's not accessible, we might come into a lower V. We'll take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, we'll let the legs fall over towards our left. As maybe we turn our gaze towards our right. When you're ready, we'll inhale, bring the gaze back to center. We'll bring the knees back to center. Pause here for a moment. And on your next exhale, the legs fall over towards your right. And we begin to turn our gaze towards the left. Last round of breath. And when you're ready, we'll inhale back to center. We'll take any other movement that our body is wanting here this morning. Otherwise, we need to find our way into our final resting shape, Shavasana. That can be flat on your back, legs down long, toes opening to the sides, hands down by the side. Or it can be another variation that is more suited for your body and your stillness this afternoon. Taking your time to get there. And then when you do, letting the body rest heavy against the earth. Letting go of any tension in the shoulders, the jaw, the mind. And settling into our final resting posture, our stillness, our loving awareness, Shavasana. a wish to be vibrant, to be healthy, to speak when the moment strikes, to look forward to not pause or hesitate or be lost in translation or forgotten in a stale cloud of mediocrity. To accept without resignation, to move beyond the anxiety of doubt or disbelief or lack of faith, to get good sleep, to stretch and breathe, inhale, exhale, giving thanks for this moment and these bodies. To start this day with loving grace, bless us all and kiss your face. To love with all that I have, and when it's difficult and needed, love more. To play, to spin lights and sticks and dance and do simple yet beautiful tricks. To perform, I might even show up wearing neon-colored clown shoes, to hear the music even when it stops, to feel the rush of waves, to actively create the connections and ways that will sustain us as we experience darker days, to be vibrant, healthy, to put one sure foot in front of the other, taking me to where I'm going and arriving with each step. To dream wide awake, imagining the possibilities while planting flowers in the desert. To ask, to remember, forget, hold on, and let go. To circle the ancient tower and shapeshift. If I had just one, that would be my wish. Bringing life back to the body with a deep breath in through the nose. And a long sigh out. Enlivening our limbs with little movements in our fingers and our toes. Taking our time here. An option to close class where you are, or when and if you are ready, beginning to find your own way into our comfortable seat. Bringing our hands to heart center, resting our thumbs against our sternum, taking a moment to just be with the beat of our existence. Bowing our heads in gratitude for our bodies, ourself, our practice, and each other. Thank you for joining me and sharing your light and your practice with me. Namaste. Thank you for joining.